Hello, and welcome to the webinar, Accelerating into the Future with Java. My name is Eric Wallace with Argyle, and it's great to have everyone joining us today. I have a few administrative details to share with you, and then we'll dig into our presentation. First, we would like to thank Oracle for their partnership with today's event. They've been wonderful thought leadership partners to Argyle and are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. Thank you again to Oracle. We appreciate you joining us today. We welcome you to stay connected during today's event. For those of you who are active tweeters, please follow us on Twitter at Argyle Exec Forum. I also wanted to take a moment to touch on our content neutrality policy, which we've curated based on the feedback we've received over the years from our members. Argyle is very proud and protective of this policy, as it reflects our commitment to ensure the neutrality and overall value of the content presented at our events. We've worked closely with our speaking faculty to ensure that you receive a set of balanced and neutral viewpoints during the session today, and we appreciate our members' support of this policy. Finally, and most importantly, please submit all questions that come up during today's event into the chat section of the interface. Before we start our presentation, I'd like to introduce our speaker, and then he'll start his presentation. Today we have Ewan Slater, Technical Director of Product Marketing for Java and GraalVM at Oracle. Ewan, over to you.
Hi, my name's Ewan Slater. I'm the Director of Technical Marketing for Java and GraalVM. And I want to talk to you today about the evolution of the Java platform, where it is today, and how we're going to continue to accelerate into the future with it. And I'd like to start by reflecting on the state of Java today. Java's legacy and its impact on humanity are unparalleled. Even after 26 years, Java continues to thrive, and the innovations from its vast ecosystem make Java the preferred platform for modern application development. There are so many facets of our lives that are touched on and enabled by Java, whether it's ordering your groceries, buying coffee, or streaming a movie. Java is everywhere. And for 26 years, it has been consistently among the top 3 development languages. Today, Java is the most widely used software development language and platform globally. Now, VDC carried out a study of Java and its ecosystem in 2021 and found the following. Firstly, for cloud development, Java is viewed as the language most important to organizations' operations. And that dynamic holds true whether the project involves developing in or deploying on the cloud. Java is also the #1 development language developers expect to use in 3 years. This is highly significant. Developers are acutely aware of the jobs market and the skills and technologies they need to know to keep themselves relevant. Their expectation of using Java in 3 years' time as their most important language is a huge vote of confidence in the platform and its future. In terms of the cloud, in 2020, 60% of JVMs were cloud-based. The expectation is that close to 75% will be cloud-based by 2025. And there were 56 billion active JVMs in 2020, with 82 billion predicted in 2025. So Java's cloud footprint is taking a growing slice of a pie that itself continues to grow. Or to put it another way, in 2020, there were around 34 billion JVMs in the cloud. And by 2025, we expect there to be around 60 billion, almost doubling in 5 years. VDC also found that Java is the #1 language for today's technology trends and #1 in twice as many technology trend categories as any other language. So where do we go from here, and how do we get there? The development of Java is based around 3 pillars. Firstly, trust. We want to earn and keep your trust by making the ecosystem more open. So we have the OpenJDK, the free and open source implementation of the Java platform developed in cooperation with the community. We have open sourced some of the previously commercial features, such as the Java Flight Recorder or JFR. The second pillar is innovation. We want to continue to innovate with Java so it can evolve to meet the needs of developers and users. We want to do this carefully, efficiently, and securely. We have accelerated the evolution of the Java platform with new language features such as records, new APIs such as the HTTP client, and taken steps to future-proof the platform, such as strongly encapsulating the internals of the JDK. This work continues through the different JDK innovation projects, such as Loom, Valhalla, Panama, and Amber. The third pillar is predictability. We want to ensure you can rely on Java to offer continued value through a process of predictable evolution. We take a long view on innovation with a deep understanding of where the software world is going and aim to introduce the right solutions into Java that continue to feel like Java. This is important as we want to carry the existing user base with us. We want the experience of Java's evolution to be one of progression and improvement. We don't want people to feel sudden jarring changes that might alienate them from Java. And finally, we want the results of this evolution to be delivered into the hands of developers predictably and incrementally. So we have adopted a release cadence that gets new features released to the community more rapidly. At Oracle, we take our role as steward and lead developer of Java very seriously. The development of the JDK takes place in an open and transparent manner within the OpenJDK project. Oracle is the chair. There are over 1,000 individual contributors and participating companies. Oracle is the leading author of and contributor to Oracle technology. If you look at the graphic there, you see the large red area. Oracle contributes over 80%. Oracle is the leading sponsor and steward of the Java ecosystem. We support numerous programs such as the user groups, Java training, and certification. For long-term innovation, we invest in the areas where the software world is moving, driven by the evolving needs of business. Today, we have the richest pipeline of new features in the history of Java. At the heart of this innovation pipeline are the innovation projects as part of the OpenJDK. These projects take a long-term view of where the world is going and aim to solve the bigger challenges facing developers while maintaining that Java feel and ensuring that billions of lines of Java code can continue to move forward with the language. So Project Amber aims to explore and incubate smaller language features that help with developer productivity. Panama is about improving connections between the JVM and non-Java or foreign APIs, such as, for example, a C API. Things that you would do with this, you might call a foreign function from inside the JVM, or have a foreign program access data that's inside the JVM heap. Loom's goal is to create the current threading mechanism in Java. At the moment, this is tied to operating system threads, which limits scalability. Loom will deliver fibers, lightweight threads that are managed by the JVM, and this will make it easier to write efficient, highly scalable, multi-threaded applications. Valhalla aims to improve how we use memory. Since the beginning, Java has had both primitive types and object types. Primitive types are simple. They're very efficient in how they use memory. Objects are more flexible and structured, but less memory efficient. Now, when Java was created, the cost of a memory read was about the same as executing an instruction. Today, instruction execution is much faster than reading memory. So we need to revisit this model. With value types, what we aim to do is to trade off some of the features of objects, like identity, to gain the memory performance and characteristics of primitives while retaining most of the flexibility of classes. The mantra is codes like a class, performs like an int. Staying with memory, but now thinking about garbage collection, We've all watched as applications have become ever more memory hungry over time. In consequence, we need to be able to manage memory more effectively. We need to be able to reclaim it when an application's finished using it. The ZGC project has delivered a scalable, low latency garbage collector capable of handling large heap sizes up to 16 terabytes, while at the same time keeping GC pauses to less than a millisecond. ZGC was introduced as an experimental feature in JDK 11. It has been production ready since JDK 15 and continues to be developed and improved today. Let's look at this innovation in action in the context of Project Amber. You can see how this has delivered a number of features over the last few releases of Java. And a key point to consider here is that it used to be only the OpenJDK developers who could influence the platform. Now all Java developers can try out, preview and incubator features, give feedback on them and improve the feature before it becomes part of the standard. So this slide shows how the preview feature system works with multiple features now having been released as part of this process. A feature is complete. You can use it in the preview stage, but there is the chance and the opportunity that it may change based on real-world feedback. So both records and pattern matching for instance of previewed in JDK 14 and again in second preview in JDK 15 and became standard features of the Java language with JDK 16. Sealed classes began previewing in 15 and became standard with JDK 17. Sealed classes are one of the 14 enhancements that were delivered with JDK 17. And I think it was one of the ones that got most interest from developers because it provides finer grained control over class hierarchies. Other features continue to address and advance several key areas around language improvements, tools to accelerate developer productivity, preview and incubator features that continue that open introduction of new enhancements and the solicitation of feedback from the community before they get put into the standard. There's also removals. These are exercising targeted surgery to remove legacy capabilities that are obsolete, such as RMI activation. Not only did developers receive new features with JDK 17, but they've also got the cumulative innovation preceding it. So many enterprises have already made the upgrade to Java 11, and when they move up to 17, they can take advantage of this rich additional set of features. And if you look here, you can see the many improvements that developers can now take advantage for when they start using the latest Java release. Now, that release, JDK 17, arrived in September 2021. So it's still young, it's only 6 months old. And as a long-term support release, it will be the stable platform for some time to come. Now, I'll discuss release cadence in more detail shortly, but before that, I want to look ahead to the next milestone as we continue to drive the evolution of Java, with the release of Java 18 in late March. So these are the features that will be coming with JDK 18, and I just wanted to make a few comments about these. Now, feature 418, JEP 418, Internet Address Resolution Service Provider Interface. It's a bit of a mouthful. What it does is to allow the use of other resolvers, other than the current default one, for internet names and addresses. Now that might sound very low level, very technical, but it's an important step forward for the Loom project, since the way the current resolver works is not a good fit with the virtual threads that Loom aims to introduce. This feature is also important to enable us to integrate new network protocols over time and very useful for when you're doing testing. As well as progress for Project Loom, there's also incubating features for Project Panama. So we've got the second incubation of the foreign function and memory API. That's a new API to call those foreign functions and access foreign memory, but without all the hazards and difficulties of the JNI. There's the third incubator of the vector API, which makes it easier for you to write vector algorithms in Java. My personal favorite is the code snippets. That's Jet 413. Everybody hates documentation when they're writing it, and everybody loves good documentation when they're reading it. The best documentation is usually a working code example, and that's particularly true when you're in a hurry. What the snippet tag allows us to do is to include code examples within our API documentation. There's also the simple web server. This is absolutely not meant to replace your production grade web server like Tomcat or Jetty, but what it does provide is a minimal out-of-the-box web server that you can use for learning, prototyping, develop web applications without needing to install one of those fully fledged web servers. There's pattern matching for Switch. That's part of Project Amber. That's its second preview. And that allows us to implement data-oriented decision paths more easily by extending pattern matching to switch statements. And finally, there's the finalization. We're deprecating finalization for removal. So being a steward is a bit like being a gardener. Yeah, sometimes you need to prune stuff that has had its day, or maybe it could have been done better in the first place. And finalization is one of those things. It's a brittle mechanism. It has unpredictable latency. It has unconstrained behavior, which can potentially cause security vulnerabilities. And there are simply better mechanisms in the platform today, so we want to move away from it. But making a change to a long-standing feature, in a widely used platform means that we have to take a step-by-step approach. So what we're doing here is deprecating it for removal in a future release. Now, as I said, I'm going to discuss the release cadence of Java. Java used to see a major release every 3 or so years based on delivery of a particular feature set. And that was a very traditional pattern for software development, particularly with enterprise software that organizations relied on for critical business functions. However, there's a lot of evidence, and it's backed up by hard numbers, to show that if you release software more frequently, then as the delta, the change between different versions is reduced, quality typically improves. And this improvement in technical quality delivers better business performance, and you can measure that in things like higher customer satisfaction, faster time to market, and improved revenue and profits. And this has driven a sea change in how organizations develop software over the last few years, with the widespread adoption of Agile and DevOps approaches. Since 2019, Java has also moved to adopt this approach with a cadence of releases every 6 months, like clockwork, rather than waiting for particular features to be ready. We believe that this delivers significant improvement in the quality of the newly GA'd releases. So let's explore that in more depth. The 6-month releases are different from the previous major releases, and no, we haven't found a way to magically do 3 years of development in 6 months. Instead, each release includes a much smaller increment of change, but it puts the features into the developers' hands more quickly. And that's particularly important with those features that are in preview or incubating, since it means the community can provide feedback on these features more quickly and steer the evolution of the JDK. And if you think about what the progress of Project Amber that we looked at before, that's precisely what's happened. Features like sealed classes had 2 rounds of preview, we got feedback from the community, and then they were delivered as standard features of the JDK in the space of 12 months. In addition to those 6-month feature releases, Oracle offers long-term support releases which accumulate the improvements across the intervening feature releases. And so the number of features that you see in an LTS release is similar to what you saw in one of the previous major releases. For enterprises that are considering ease of maintenance, stability, LTS releases are an excellent choice, particularly in production. But now their developers have the option of accessing the new features in much earlier and able to get familiar with them. Now, as I said before, JDK 17 that's released in September is the latest long-term support release. Starting with JDK 17, and I apologize, this slide is a little bit of a tongue twister. Starting with JDK 17, the LTS release cadence changed, so there will be a new LTS release every 2 years. The next LTS release after JDK 17 will be JDK 21, which will ship in 2023. The license terms have also changed. So JDK 17 is free and everyone will receive updates for production use until September 2024. So that's a year after JDK 21 has shipped. And going forward, there will be that pattern of a 1-year overlap between the LTS releases. If you want to use JDK 17 for production after September 2024 and receive updates to it, you will then require a subscription. And for subscription customers, each LTS will receive premium support for 5 years and extended support for a further 3. Now, all organizations find complexity in managing their application environments. And since Java is the most prevalent language and development platform, by definition, they need to be able to manage the Java estate. That means they need help with performance, with managing, with tracking, with tuning, issue resolution, version management, etc. Now, in 2021, IDC found that the top reasons for buying Java support were performance optimization and tuning of Java applications, streamlined migrations and upgrades to new versions of Java, access to technical resources for development and disaster recovery, getting support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in local languages, and getting bugs and issues resolved. Given Java's prevalence and Oracle's role as the steward and innovation leader for Java, it is important that we provide a solution that serves the population of developers and organizations. Building on Java's pillars of trust, innovation, and predictability, we offer the Java SE subscription. It's simple and it covers deployments in the cloud, on premises, and in hybrid environments. It's transparent. The pricing and discount structure are available on the website. It allows customers to pay on their needs. It is also adding new features, new capabilities to increase the value of the subscription over time. For example, we've recently included GraalVM Enterprise and Java Management Service. And it's free on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, so customers can get all the value at no additional cost when they run their Java workloads on OCI, which is the best price performance cloud in the market. So there's a lot of powerful elements built into the subscription. The core components are, the Oracle JDK and its binaries and the associated license. As we covered before, Oracle contributes over 80% of the enhancements, fixes, and new features in each JDK release. And our developers have more experience writing and supporting the JDK than anybody else. There's Java support, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, in 27 languages, by a team whose members each have more than 15 years experience with Java and work closely with the Java development team. There's security, performance, and stability updates directly from Oracle. That includes quarterly critical patch updates, interim updates for supported versions that have reached the end of public updates, and access to mission-critical bug fixes before they become publicly available. You also get access to tools like the Java Management Service and Advanced Management Console to manage your deployments. There's GraalVM. GraalVM is a high-performance JVM developed as an open-source project originating in and led by Oracle Labs. The Java SE subscription and OCI customers are entitled to use GraalVM Enterprise Edition, that's the supported version, at no additional cost. What does that do? Well, GraalVM can boost the performance of existing applications using its advanced JIT compiler. It has AOT, ahead of time compilation, or native image capability. So this can be used to compile jar and class files to native executables and give you, near instantaneous startup time while reducing memory and compute requirements. And that capability makes it ideal for cloud native applications which are built using microservices and or serverless functions. GraalVM also has polyglot capabilities that enable it to run programs written in other languages such as JavaScript or Ruby, as well as those written in Java. The subscription also includes the Java Success Program for customers, which provides benefits such as free Java certifications. So the subscription provides customers with a lot of value. They're able to maintain the right security posture and manage compliance requirements. They have the tools and access to the technical resources for management of their Java estate. And they have the flexibility to move and upgrade at the pace of their business. And with GraalVM Enterprise, the performance boost and resource savings can give a substantial efficiency improvement. Because of this, we've seen substantial global adoption by customers ranging from large organizations in the Fortune 10 down to small organizations. And I'm very pleased to say that of those thousands of customers, we see very high levels of customer satisfaction and very high renewal rates. As I said previously, all of the benefits of the Java SE subscription are included with your infrastructure cost when you run on OCI. Part of those benefits is the Java Management Service. So Java Management Service, or JMS, is an OCI native service that aims to address the complexity of managing Java at scale. JMS can be used to manage workloads running in OCI, or they could be running on premises or in a third-party cloud. And it's offered at no additional cost to our subscription customers and OCI customers, and you only pay the storage cost for the monitoring data. So JMS helps users answer questions like, what are all the Java versions that I have installed? Which of those versions are being used and by which applications? And that can enable you to track down applications that shouldn't be running, or installations that need to be removed, or that are in non-standard locations, or whether all your Java versions are up to date and whether they need patching. The value of JMS is rooted in the use of automation for security, compliance, and tuning, and thereby reduce the cost of ownership for Java. Oracle's the best positioned company to build such a service because we lead the platform roadmap, we lead the security roadmap, we have the most expertise in the Java platform to provide the best insights to our customer. And with JMS, we provide an integrated service rather than multiple different siloed tools for things like inventory and then a different tool for tuning. So leading the Java platform development, we have unique insights how and when those platform updates are going to occur and how they're going to impact customers, and we can notify them ahead of time. We have the deepest expertise by far on how the JVM, the JIT compiler, GC and runtime are working, and how best to configure and tune the JVM for a specific workload. When you're using JMS, your Java estate is divided into fleets of JVMs, and you can manage each fleet separately. JMS today has the ability to provide installation reports about all of the Java and GraalVM versions that are installed on your machines, the vendor or provider for each version, and the number of instances of each identified JVM. When it's an instance of the Oracle Java distribution, we can provide more information, such as whether it's up to date. For Oracle JDK, JMS will also provide a list of all of the Java applications that are running and which Java versions are being used by each application. The administration team can then use these reports to detect potentially unauthorized applications, whether those are there maliciously or they're just forgotten apps, because these all consume resources and potentially increase your attack surface. Java Management Service is available in all of the OCI commercial data centers around the world and also the UK and US government regions. So all those capabilities are available in the 22 regions, And to make it easier for your staff to use JMS wherever they are, the console is localized to all of the OCI supported languages. Java's success is not just a story of a great technology, but it's also about a global and diverse community eager to help one another succeed. As I said at the start of this talk, everywhere you look, you find Java. As you go about your day-to-day life, you are constantly using systems and devices that are built on the Java platform. Millions of developers use Java every day to develop new applications and maintain existing ones. There is a vibrant community and ecosystem around Java that is second to none. Oracle is aware of its responsibilities as a steward of Java. We continue to invest in Java, the technology, and the community. We continue to keep our promises to build on our 3 pillars and to take the platform forward as it has helped the world move forward over the last quarter century. And just a reminder, the latest result of our continuing investment in innovation is JDK 18. So mark your diaries for March 22nd when it's released. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ewan, for that amazing presentation. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this fantastic webinar. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.